book lovers, my name is Carrie and this is Spines and Spoilers. It is also the beginning of another reading vlog. Now, my original plan for the day, which is no longer going to happen, was to take all of my library books, bring them back to the library, try to see if I could find any of the physical copies of the books that I need to read for this vlog. Apparently, the library is closed today for some reason though, so that's not going to be happening. Instead, I just did a lot of homework at Starbucks. Now I'm going to go get some mice for my snake. I still have homework to do, but it's due tomorrow night, and I'm torn between whether I want to go home and just focus on homework, or if I want to go home, gather all of our laundry, and then spend the rest of my night doing that, basically. We don't have a washer and dryer, so it's a whole ordeal of, you know, gathering up all of the laundry into bags and baskets and loading the car and bringing it to the place and unloading it and loading the washer, unloading the washer, loading the dryer, unloading the dryer. It's a whole process rather than just being able to toss something in and, you know, change it out and stuff. So, yeah. I'm definitely procrastinating doing that. I just saw that a new Spirit Halloween was put up, so there's been a change of plans. The second time I played the song today. Yes. Oh, Hocus Pocus stuff. That's own section. This makes me so happy. The price doesn't, but that does. I couldn't stay very long because people look at you funny when you show up alone and start recording videos and stuff. But yeah, that was fun. I feel like this is close quarters. I don't think there's supposed to be crickets in here, but there are several. Just hanging out. For lizards. Here. Please stop. This guy's about to get him some food. Okay, or maybe he's just going to land a bowl. Oh, he's trying to get that specific, like, cricket that fell down there. Okay, mice obtained. I'm about to head home and spend the evening with my husband, probably doing homework. So I started reading the ebook of Language of Thorns, and of course I love it so far because it's by Leigh Bardugo. But I am 3 stories in so far, and honestly, I absolutely love it. I adore things like this that expand upon the lore of the universe with, like, canon stories that are told by the people who live in the universe. I love that shit. But yeah, now I'm going to maybe put on the audiobook, and I can probably finish this tonight. Honestly, it's not very long at all, but I figured I'd put on the audiobook and play some on Animal Crossing for a little bit. It is 5 a.m. October 23rd, and I just finished the little bit of Language of Thorns that I had left, and oh my god, I loved it so much. Like, I swear, Leigh Bardugo in my eyes can basically do no wrong. I know know that's not necessarily a popular opinion, and all of her books are not, you know, the same quality necessarily. But I do love them all. I really do. I'm torn about what to rate this one, but it really is in like the 4.5 and 5-star range. Just, I love it so much. Chef's kiss. Not quite sure what I want to read next, but I should have plenty of time today to decide that, since I have a lot of things going on. Honestly, probably not even awake for the day, so I went to sleep, God, what time was it? Like 10, I think, last night maybe? I don't know. I went to sleep at one point, and then I got like 2 hours of sleep, and then I got back up, and I stayed up for a couple hours, and then I went back to sleep. And then woke up a couple of hours later, and then I could not go back to sleep. This last time was at like 4:30, 4:45 or something like that, and just like sleep was not going to happen. So I finished Language of Thorns instead. I'm gonna try and get a little bit of homework done, but I don't know if I'm quite awake enough yet to do that, but I know that that's why I haven't been able to sleep as much lately, because I have so much homework to do. I don't even know how to express how much homework I have. I have 4 classes going on at the same time, and 2 of the classes are like half semester classes, so everything's just being piled on at the same time. So that's super fun. I just barely put it in the 4.5 range, like, because I know I did enjoy The Haunting of Evelyn Jones more, but only just by the tiniest amount. Either way, just both amazing books. I'm actually thinking that I'll read Medusa's Gaze and Vampire's Bite next, because I tend to just kind of zoom through nonfiction books. So yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna do that next. Medusa's Gaze and Vampire's Bite. Masochism Tango. Immediately speaking my language. Oh my god. Pardon me. Excuse me, sir. Please stop. Please stop doing what you're doing. Whatever you're doing. Please stop doing that. Sir, please. I was just thinking that what they were talking about sounded like the Eagles from The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and then they referenced it. I'm so happy. Speak for yourself, buddy. I thought the RUSs were terrifying as a child. I still loved the movie, but I thought they were absolutely terrifying. I'm loving their use of quotes. I think this is supposed to look intimidating, but I just want to pet it. Like, oh my, look at his face. It's not terrifying, it's terrified. Like, mother, what have I become? I never even considered this. Mind blown. So this author says, Chimera's weird blend of animals made it a vile sight to behold, and science is now suggesting that humans may be hardwired to react negatively to its alien body structure. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here like, I want to pet that bitch. Like, even the snake and the goat head don't seem to be having a great time. I just want to tell it it's gonna be alright. This Minotaur has never skipped leg day in his life. If you thought that the Minotaur had thighs, you should see Medusa's. Holy crap! Modern television is making She-Hulk tiny and conventionally attractive. Meanwhile, this ancient picture is just like, nah, man. Okay, so like, he's just surprised. First of all, I'm very excited for the dragon chapter, but also, how are you gonna hit me with a Hagrid quote when Robbie Coltrane just died? How dare you? Like, the man absolutely was not perfect, but he depicted some of my absolute favorite characters. Hagrid just spoke to me on a very, like, deep level. That character, like, regardless of how I feel about Rabbit Coltrane, regardless of how I feel about J.K. Rowling, I love that character so much, and he was able to embody that character so well. Anyway, don't know how this ended up turning into a tangent about Hagrid. Back to the book. Okay, one more Hagrid comment. I just realized that I said all this after talking about how I wanted to frickin' pet a frickin' chimera. Well, anyway, back to the book. It just looks like everybody's feeling awkward here. You're just like, oh man. Like, sorry, were you gonna eat this? I'm so happy to see Aragon referenced in literally anything, honestly. This book just referenced splice and species within, like, the same paragraph, and that makes me really happy. Both really interesting sci-fi movies if you haven't seen them, and I definitely recommend. Pretty similar concepts, though, which is why they were being referenced pretty close together. Definitely look up trigger warnings first, though, if you decide to watch them. Because one, I think, was made in the 80s, and the other was made in the early 90s, I believe. Yes! A whole chapter on dinosaurs. I'm so excited. You know that Tasmanian devils are going extinct because of mysterious facial tumors that scientists can't figure out? What is going on? I acknowledge that was totally out of the blue, but this chapter is talking about the idea of bringing creatures back from the dead, basically, through cloning, like what was done through Jurassic Park, but with other animals who have gone extinct throughout time, like, you know, mammoths and stuff like that. And they're talking about using this concept in today's world with animals that are slowly going extinct or on the endangered species list. And just threw in there that Tasmanian devils are going extinct because of facial tumors. But they're talking about how this technology could possibly be used to help them, you know, maintain their populations, you know, once they're able to figure out what is going on. Y'all, I didn't realize how much I love monsters, but every, like, chapter title, I'm just like, yes, please. A monster-human reversal has been a long time coming. The critical question is why? Why throughout history have humans and monsters grown ever closer together and finally in Avatar entirely swapped positions? Wonder if this guy's ever been on TikTok. I won't go more in depth about that because I found out recently that my mom watches my YouTube videos and I don't want to ruin her world or anyone else's world that doesn't know what I'm talking about. Please, value your innocence. I really enjoyed this book though, like more than I thought I would. I think I'm drifting a little bit more towards like nonfiction these days. But yeah, it's kind of one of those books where I want to kind of like copy and paste the entire list of sources. Like, every single one sounds so interesting. I need to stop. This is how my TBR gets so out of hand. Since apparently I am being very productive this morning as far as book reading goes, I'm just gonna go ahead and start the next one. Kate Alice Marshall, These Fleeting Shadows. Is that you, Dobby? I'll probably lay back down soon, but I at least wanted to go ahead and start something new, you know. Also, I'm listening to music while I read. That's why I've been wearing this whole time. 4 stars. So, I was just doing the math. Let's see. I read 10 books during the first, 15, 16 days of October, the first half. I've also read 11 other books. Outside of the ones that I picked from the pumpkin, just casual reading books, arcs, stuff like that. And I've read 6 books since I started this like second half of the month. So yeah, 10 plus 11, 21 plus 6, 27. I only have 4 books. I only have 4 books left before I have read 31 books in October. I feel good about this. I can do this. I know I can do this. It's literally the 23rd of October, meaning that I have like 8 days left to read 4 books. That is nothing. I can, oh my god, I can't believe. Meaning also that I'll probably end up meeting my Goodreads goal for the year, which is at 50. As in like that's my goal, is 50. And most of that is going to be from October, probably, not gonna lie. I might end up increasing it if it looks like that's going to continue, but I don't want to do that to myself and then end up completely slumping in November and December. I do definitely want to make sure to finish A Discovery of Witches, though, which I am about a third of the way into at this point. I've been listening to the audiobook for the most part, and every once in a while glimpsing into the ebook. But it's more of a casual read compared to the other stuff that I've been reading, which is more active. Yeah, I definitely want to make that one of my long books that I finish. Originally, I wanted to read House of Leaves during this, but I think that's just gonna have to like require its own reading vlog entirely. Like, I don't think I've ever just focused on one book for a reading vlog, but I think that might be my first one. Like, don't get me wrong, I definitely still want to read as many of these as I can, but the pressure is kind of off at this point. Like, it's not generally an issue for me to finish 4 books in twice the amount of time. And given how stressed I've been about school lately, I definitely need that extra time. I forgot that this has a sapphic love story in it, and I am so excited. It has got ghosts and gay. Well, presumably it has ghosts. To be fair, I'm not entirely sure. So it has haunted house vibes and gay, we'll put it like that. Both of which I'm completely here for. Aw, Simon sounds great. So, he's either evil or he's gonna die, right? Okay, so I'm like 2 chapters into These Fleeting Shadows, and I'm actually really enjoying it so far. It was a little quick to start, but I'm hoping that there's a point to that. We'll see. At any rate, I don't know, it seems like it's going to have my kind of vibes so far. Good morning. So it is 4:35 a.m. on October 24th. Yet another night where I just couldn't sleep. This workload that I have for school is really messing with my head. I just haven't been able to sleep well lately at all. That's also part of why I haven't recorded that much this weekend, because I've been trying to focus on getting some of this work done and, you know, getting that out of the way. And, like, I got some of it done, but it's like I'll get 2 things done and then find out that there are 3 more things that I have to do, and then there's 1 thing that I was supposed to do 2 days ago that somehow slipped my notice. Now I have to message a professor, you know, and make sure that I'm not about to fail the class, and it's just been a lot. To my knowledge, though, I am temporarily caught up. I'm going to take the day to not do academic stuff. Like, I don't know if I'll be able to keep that promise to myself, but I need a day where I'm not focusing on school, because it's stressing me out so bad, and I really have not been able to sleep more than a couple of hours at a time, if that, lately. Since the last time I recorded, though, I can't remember if I updated about the fact that I finished Medusa's Gaze and Vampire's Bite, but that was good. I enjoyed that. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did, but I really did. It's kind of hit or miss when it comes to nonfiction books for me, but I've been enjoying them a lot more recently. I gave it 4 stars though, and then I also finished Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness and gave it 3.5. I'm sure that's gonna get me a lot of hate, but I kind of don't care. It was good. I'm not gonna say that it wasn't. It was a good book. It was, but it wasn't great, you know. I can maybe see reading one of the sequels eventually, but it's not going to be a priority. You know, I'm not going to lose sleep over finding the next installment or anything like that. Definitely not a bad book though, and I can see why people enjoy it. I also finished my seasonal reread of Wuthering Heights. I've kind of just been passively listening to it on Audible. I've got it on there and I just kind of open it, re-listen to it every year, follow along in the book if I've got it out. Right now it's like pushed to the back of the bookcase and I'm not digging it out, honestly. But yeah. Basically my plans for today are to drop my husband off at work, do so much laundry. You don't even know how much laundry at the laundromat. I'm going to bring my tablet with me and my notebook and just do some reading and, you know, kind of use that time to mentally decompress. Like, laundry can be physically taxing at times with the amount of laundry I have to do, but generally it's not. It's kind of mentally relaxing to me, and I kind of hate the fact that we don't have a washer and dryer. After that though, I plan on going by the library and returning the books that I currently have, including The Price Guide to the Occult, Nanette, and George Floyd. I can't remember the full title of that, but yeah, those 3 books. But I plan on returning them and seeing if I can find any of the books on my list to check out. Honestly, at this point, I don't have a lot of books that I need to read in order to make 31 books for October. Let's do the math one more time. I read 10 books during the first like 15 days, and then so far I've read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books. So that's 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Haven't rated those yet. 29. Haven't rated that yet either, because I know what my rating is for Wuthering Heights. I've read it a million times. Right? That's 10 plus 12. Yeah, this is 22 plus 7, 29. So yeah, I'm at 29. I only need 3 books at this point, and I'm still working on These Fleeting Shadows. It is really interesting so far. I'm honestly enjoying it much more than I thought. I kind of assumed that it was going to phone things in, if I'm being perfectly honest, but it's super interesting so far, and I am loving it. It's just... They keep on saying that this house is not haunted, like, that there are no ghosts at Harrow. Like, specifically there. Like, they're not saying that there aren't ghosts, just that there aren't ghosts at this building. Yet it seems super haunted to me. I'm still really early in the book. Like, I'm not even a quarter of the way in, I don't think. Maybe like an 1/8. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. And I want to make that my mission today while I'm doing laundry, to just try and barrel through. This was not one of the names that I drew, but I'm also listening to Under the Whispering Door on Libby. I had put in a request for it, and you can't really choose when it comes in. You can just choose whether to borrow it or whether to just like let someone else have it. So I figured I'd go ahead and borrow it. I'm only like 3 chapters in so far. Kind of hate the main guy, but in a fun way. Like, he's meant to be hateable. Like, that's the entire point. But the whole thing is very death oriented, which, you know, is super on brand for me. And yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I'm very curious to see how that one turns out. My main focus though is going to be these fleeting shadows because it's part of this like drawing that I did. Sorry, hair was getting in my face. I do think that I'm going to do an entirely different reading vlog that just focuses on House of Leaves. I've never done one before that just focuses on one book, but this feels like the type of book where I need to just focus on that and nothing else. And I'm thinking that after I tackle these fleeting shadows, I'll move on to Winterset Hollow and the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. At this rate, I'm not sure how many of these other books I'm going to end up reading, but we will see. Yeah, because that's 11 books on this page that I haven't read, and then there are 3 here, I think? Yeah. So I haven't read like 14 of the original 21, and at the end of the day, there will probably be like 10 left over. I don't know. Also, when I film super close like this, it's either because I don't like what I have on, I don't like what's going on in the background, or because it's just, like, it hurts my arm to be like this all the time, and I don't want to go through the trouble of setting up my thingy, my camera holder thingy-majig. I have about an hour before my husband wakes up and I need to drop him off at work, so in that time I'm going to continue getting some reading done and just having Gravity Falls playing in the background. I've got it paused at the moment. I love Gravity Falls, but I've never seen the entire thing. I've watched the first season, which that's what this is. It's starting literally from like the first episode. But yeah, I've seen the first season several times, but I haven't seen the rest of it, like, at all. And it's just a personality flaw where I'll finish the season and be like, I don't remember what happened. Let's start it over again. I talked to my mom whenever I found out that she watches my vlogs sometimes, and I was like, so what do you think? And at first she had, you know, the normal mom response of, you're too adorable. I was like, okay, cool, I'll try to be less cute then. Thanks, Mom. But then she said that, I think it was like I gave too much away or I got too personal or something like that, which, yeah, I guess I do that sometimes, but what you gonna do? What you doing, Ezra? Hi. Good morning. Oh, good night. Fanny, what are you doing? You just want to make sure I know that this couch is yours? Mr. Fanny. Okay, I love, you see clumsy protagonists all the time, and I honestly relate to all of them because I'm clumsy as hell. But this is wonderful. I stumbled back. Once upon a time, my mom had promised that I'd outgrow the clumsiness of puberty, but she'd been wrong. My heel caught against something, a rock, a delicate blade of grass, an air molecule. Like, same. I felt that in my soul. Ezra decided that it is time to be held. She just walked over and climbed up on me. It's my day now. Just giving you love. She found the library in the haunted house, and I am unreasonably excited. Yes. I'm here for this, and I hope that a lot of the book takes place in this room. That was one thing that I enjoyed about A Discovery of Witches, the fact that so much of it took place in a library. Give me books in my books. We heard you like books, so we put books in your books. So it's about 6 o'clock, meaning that my husband's about to get up and we're gonna get going shortly after that. So I wanted to do a quick update. I've made it to chapter 11 in These Fleeting Shadows, and oh my god, I love this book. I didn't expect to enjoy this book as much as I do, but I honestly absolutely love it. She's just a girl. You know how to talk to girls. I did not know how to talk to girls. Talking to girls was terrifying. Ah yes, the eternal struggle. This place is so loud. Is what I mean when I say I have a ridiculous amount of laundry. So it has been a bit of a rough morning. By that I mean that it is just like 5 minutes after noon now, and I have done so many laundry. I don't even know how much laundry at this point. I haven't brought it all upstairs. That is how much. It's just sitting in the car until I can work up the willpower to bring it all upstairs. But in the midst of this, I had gotten a coffee because, you know, I only got like 2 hours of sleep. Reasonable, I think. Well, when I went to empty the car at the laundromat, I accidentally hit the cup with one of the bags, and then my coffee proceeded to spill all in the next seat, like the passenger side seat. Wouldn't be much of an issue because we have leather seats, but you see, that's where my library books were sitting. All 3 of my library books were brand new copies. So yeah, after so much laundry, I needed to go to the library directly afterwards, which was the game plan anyway, but I was just going to return everything and then check more stuff out. Well, in this case, I had to bring the stuff to the counter, be like, I'm so sorry, this is what happened, and I still have no idea if I owe them money or not because the person who makes those decisions was out today. So they're gonna get back to me. Thankfully it wasn't too bad, like it was just like the very bottoms of the page were stained, like I was able to wipe everything off a decent amount, but unfortunately by that point I had already brought all of the towels inside, of course, so I had to use napkins to wipe everything off, and it took longer because of that. Ezra! Yes, how dare he stand close to you? That bastard. She has issues with other cats. Fenris is delightful though, we love him. But yeah. So, that was a thing. That being said, there are positives. I did find a couple of books while I was there. The first one is a book that I've been wanting to read for a little while called Dead Water by C.A. Fletcher. I didn't draw the name of this book, but it is one of the books in the pumpkin, like one of the names in the pumpkin. And I kind of just got it for some casual reading rather than waiting. Ow! I just assaulted myself. Rather than waiting to draw it, honestly. Oh, jeez. This guy's like 500 pages too. That did not feel good. Oh, I forgot to mention when I spilled that coffee, I also spilled it on myself. And then later when I got like a burger to just like kind of chill afterwards and recharge, spilled that all over myself too. So whenever I went into the library, I stank badly of coffee and onion, and the guy at the counter, he was so nice, but I'm sure that he was sitting there thinking, please go away, please go away, please go away. The other book that I found, as you saw, was House of Leaves by Marczy Danielewski. That's the pronunciation that I'm going with, because otherwise I sound drunk. Now, these are due back by the 14th of November, so I'm going to try to zoom through my last couple of books for October as quickly as I can so that I can go ahead and start this as quickly as possible. Because I want this to just have a vlog on its own. I forgot to mention that I got a lot of reading done on These Fleeting Shadows while I was at the laundromat. I am over halfway done at this point. and it is so interesting. It's also legitimately creepy. Like, there are some things in this book that were like kind of unsettling and genuinely creepy. I feel like I'll probably be done with it by tonight. I'm not positive. In the meantime, though, I think I'm going to take a nap and get a shower because I sorely need both. I would never have agreed to live in a haunted murder house if I knew it involved public speaking. So I'm sitting outside my husband's work waiting for him to get out for the day, and I'm doing a little reading in the meantime because I'm just going to be sitting here for a little bit. And we have our first like on-screen death, and it was brutal. Like, to say that they eviscerated this person is to put it kindly. So I finished reading These Fleeting Shadows, and 5 stars. I can't say that I had a lot of expectations going into this, but oh my god, it was so good. Like, it was so... I don't even know how to explain it. It was creepy, yet also, like, it had a good amount of humor incorporated in, like, not so much that it was clumsy or anything like that. It also made me cry, like, genuinely cry more than once, and it was just so good. I also love the fact that while I called some things, I did call a couple of things, there were other things that, like, took me completely by surprise. I will not say what I was right or wrong about, because I know that I speculated a couple of things while recording, but I will say that it took me, like, some of this stuff took me completely by surprise, and even when I was proved right, it was not 100% what I thought it was. I know it's a 5-star book though when I finish reading it, and I just want to read it all over again. The only complaints that I really have are that it maybe should have been a little longer. I would have loved to have known more about the house. I would have loved to have known more about the house, and, what's inside of it, and the creatures that this entity created. Basically, I would just want more. That's the only critique that I have. If nothing else, I'm getting some new favorites out of this, because I got that and Evelyn Jones. And that's if you don't count the beginning of the month when I read The Death of Jane Lawrence and The Swallow. I love that all of these basically pertain to, like, ghosts and haunted houses and stuff like that, though. That's great. Apparently I missed a book at some point, or I didn't count one, I guess, because my math is telling me at this point that I only have 1 book left. Because I read 10 in the first half of the month, then I read the 12 outside of all of this that I didn't pull out of the pumpkin, which means 22, and now I've read 8 during this reading vlog. So yeah, that's 30, right? Like, that is 30. That means I only need 1 more. And the pressure is intense. Hey bud, what we doing? Okay, so after a lot of consideration, I think that I'm going to read Winterset Hollow by Jonathan Edward Durham. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Am I doing something other than petting you? Is that a problem? This is what he does when I stop petting him. It's like he sulks. Baby boy. So I went to add These Fleeting Shadows to my Goodreads, and none of my mutual friends or people that I follow had read this book. I don't know where I heard about this book, because that's like my number 1 source for discovering books is, one of my friends has read it or is interested in reading it, or someone that I follow on, like, BookTube has recommended it. And I'm just really curious, because the only other source that I used for this really was, like, my own bookshelf, which it was not on, and a Goodreads list of translated works, which this was not. So I have no idea where this book came from, but I'm glad that it just appeared on my list. Also, he is still sulking. I haven't shown Ezra in a while, but that's because she is generally just sleeping and being a complete loaf. An adorable loaf. Apparently this was based on a novella. Sorry, we're talking about These Fleeting Shadows again, but apparently it was based on a novella. Like, this person didn't like how it ended, I guess. Thought it was anticlimactic and decided they were basically just gonna make a novel-long fan fiction. So, respect. That just makes me love it 10 times more, honestly. That's so good. Apparently only a couple of the characters were from the novella, and all of the rest of them were, originally made. They're all OCs, except for... I love it. I don't know what else to say. I love it. That's so great. Anyway, I am ready to be thoroughly creeped out by this one, so wish me luck. Aw, same. I loved this movie when I was a kid. I used to watch it all the time. It seemed like, an appropriate thing to put on in the background while I'm reading. So I don't think that I'm gonna be up for reading this particular book at the moment. I've 2 chapters in and I'm bored out of my mind, so I think that I'll find something else to read for now. I'm going to refamiliarize myself with the books on my list and see if any of them stick out. I don't want to have to, like, force myself to get through something. Hi. Hi, dude. So I went back through the books on my list, and unfortunately none of them are really, like, calling to me right now. So I'm going to do something that should probably be against the rules. I'm gonna draw another name. So hear me out. This is my vlog. I make the rules, I'll do what I want, okay? Now, I just don't want to force myself to slog through a book that I don't want to read right now. And maybe the pumpkin will have something interesting for me. Alright, let's do this. It's blue. It's Through the Woods. I believe that is a graphic novel. Okay, so apparently it is a series of short stories by Emily Carroll in graphic novel form, and I am really excited for it. This is beautiful, and I think maybe just what I'm looking for. Though it does have more of like a wintry feel, but I'll allow it. So we have the introduction, our neighbor's house, the lady's hands are cold, his face all red, my friend Jana, the nesting place, and the conclusion. And also just this really cool little doodle here that I would really like. Okay, yeah, this is much more like it. I knew I should trust the pumpkin. Because technically, everything that I drew was what I was feeling like reading at the time that I drew it. I'm not feeling it anymore, honestly. Alright, I added it to my list, now to get reading. Look, I'm an adult. First story, was about child abduction. That was fun. On to the second one. The second story was about a man who murdered his wife and put her body parts in, like, the floorboards in the walls and just, like, scattered them throughout the house. This is not quite what I was expecting, but it's not bad. Also, Sleepy Hollow went off, so now I just put on The Haunting of Hill House for a little bit. I haven't rewatched it in a while. Ooh, this one's about a medium. Thanks. I hate it. So this is a thing that exists. This seems to be the story that the book is named after. There once was a young girl who lived at the edge of a deep, dense forest. Before she left for her mother's house, her father told her, "Don't linger in the woods. Travel swift and safe. There are wolves circling in the dark." I love how it depicts the dark and puts everything in white as a highlight. That was a quick read, but a good one. I quite enjoyed it. It was much creepier than I expected it to be. There were some moments that were honestly pretty disturbing, but in an enjoyable way, if that makes sense. That being said, I'd probably give it like a 4 out of 5-ish. But that's it. I'm calling it. That was 31 books in October, a day for every single day of the month. It didn't quite go as I originally expected, but I'm kind of glad that it went the way that it did. That being said, I am going to record a wrap-up video tomorrow, but for tonight, I'm just going to wrap things up and go to bed. Thank you so much for watching, though, and joining me on this journey, I guess. I appreciate it more than you know, really. If you want to like and share and subscribe, that is up to you, but what's most important is that you love yourself. Okay, bye.
Come back to me. Come back to me.